And we're off. It is 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time here in Los Angeles. It's Monday. Everybody loves Mondays. July 3rd, 2023 AD. And for some reason, people are calling it this past weekend the holiday weekend. I guess so. It's a holy day, the 4th of July tomorrow, which is Independence Day. And what are we going to be talking about? Well, I'll touch on that. Another black mass shooting. Crazy. And that was in Baltimore. A couple of people killed, maybe more. The rent's too high in Australia, too. It's not just California. No flat earthers live down under, I hear. No flat earthers. Well, I hear myself saying that. That's the only place that I hear that. So it's fake news. Truckers, how you guys doing, truckers? There are truckers who listen to JLP, who listen to Hake, and who listen to American Anchor Baby, and presumably Joel Friday. Nice. Okay? So, but it's tough times, I hear. They flooded the market during the China virus, communist shutdowns, and now they're kind of overstaffed, they say. I don't know. So, some other things going on. Asians are not for, generally, the affirmative action mess because they suffer too, just like the whites, because they're overachievers when it comes to academics. And there's this group called Moms for Liberty, supposedly conservative group. And you know, there's some stuff that happened in the Supreme Court. But this conservative Moms for Liberty group, they are supposed right-wingers. Who called them anti-government extremists? Like the SPLC, which is a far-left anti-American extremist group, anti-white, anti-Christian extremists, and they're calling Moms for Liberty anti-government extremists. Well, they're not for government extremism. That's true. But I have a clip about that, a news report from NBC, so-called news about that. And by the way, there's this gay guy, Pete Buttigieg, who went after DeSanctimonious, Ron DeSantis, Florida governor, for a video attacking our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, over so-called LGBTQ rights. Thank God it is July. It is White History Month. Happy White History Month, everybody. Did you catch American Anchor Baby's 7-hour stream? Did you catch Hake's beach stream from a month ago, yesterday? I actually recorded one on the first day of White History Month, but I have not released that one yet. It takes a while to upload these things sometimes when you're out in the boonies. And I have some beautiful music to share with you guys. Hope you enjoy it. All that and your calls, if you would like to call in. Some of you guys already filling up the lines. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show. Maybe. Hopefully.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. Stolen Valor Hake. Indeed, I am wearing my world's greatest grandpa 1 cup t-shirt. First time I worn it. It was on the clearance rack. How Can Hake be wearing this? It's stolen valor. I'm not. $7.69 from Target says, spoiler alert. Terrible. I disavow. Yeah, it's a nice dark navy blue, like the Marine suits color, a little bit darker maybe, and the nice golden yellow World's Greatest Grandpa t-shirt with a shiny trophy cup, big old trophy cup with the number 1 on it. Cool. I think so anyway. No, I'm not a grandpa. I'm not even a father at this point, but that's okay. People were like, people don't understand that silly sense of humor. I thought it'd be funny, and plus, I think that it's a nice shirt. Let's be honest. And it's a size medium. And stop asking inappropriate personal questions, Twitch chat. Fraud. Okay. And by the way, the little pause there at the beginning of the intro was because the mouse froze. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. That's the black dude Lando from Star Wars said. It's not my fault. And that's true. How was your weekend, Hassan?
It's pretty nice. How about you?
Mine was pretty nice too. How'd you like church?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Always amazing.
Yep. Indeed.
Nice
I agree.
Belgium guests.
Yeah, those tall white men. I almost said tall white guys, but it sounds inappropriate to call them grown men guys. White guys. Tall white men. That's cool. Some of them are tall. Yeah. Right on.
Yep. And now that Jesse keeps saying Belgium today, mentioning them,
Yeah.
it's got me in the mood for some Belgian waffles
Sweet.
and some Bavarian cream donuts. I don't know if that is from Belgium, but wherever Bavarian is sounds close by.
Yeah, it sounds like a big, strong white man place.
Yeah. Exactly.
With delectable sweets,
Not to be mistaken with Boston creams.
which are not bad either.
Very nice also.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Cool. Have you been to the beach?
It's been a while.
Okay. I recommend it. It's cool. But
I love it.
be careful. Be careful.
The problem is I want to take Sandman, but you can't bring sand to the beach.
You cannot take Sandman to the beach?
Well, that's just a joke, you know.
Oh,
Don't bring
you
sand to the beach.
Oh, I never heard that joke before. Mr. Sandman is his dog, FYI.
Yeah.
The true name is a different name, right?
That's yeah, it's true. But if you know, you know.
Named after one of his hit tracks.
There you go. Yeah, almost as banned as the White History Month.
True.
T-shirt.
Nice. Well, cool, man.
Yes, sir.
Did
Did you go?
I did. I had a little beach. I recorded I made a beach recording. Every time I go to the beach, for some reason, I argue in my imagination with the flat earthers when I'm recording, just to have something to say, I guess.
Because you're staring at the proof. That's why.
Yeah, I'm staring at the obvious globe proof, the drop-off. I'm staring at the drop-off, but they don't think it's a drop-off. They think it's a vanishing point. The vanishing point is a theory of art. It's not a real thing. Anyway, it wouldn't be so crisp, I don't think. But yeah, I like to go to the beach, and there was one guy, Brian, Bryan, who's been requesting another beach stream, so I made another beach stream. I recorded one back in June 3rd, and wow, I didn't know Hake is a grandpa. I know, and I've known some 40-something-year-old grandpas, but I am not. It's stolen valor. It's fraudulent. But yeah, I like to go to the beach. It's nice. Get a little bit of sunshine. It's a little bit cooler, and not too much sunshine. So, flat as a cylinder, says Flat Earth Seasell. Yeah, you read my mind. That's actually one of the things that I said. Yeah.
I bet it was pretty busy this weekend, was it? Or
It was pretty busy. You know how it was sunny out here and kind of hot? Mm-hmm. It was overcast, practically white. I was like, pray for me that I don't get burned. And sure enough, it was overcast. And the prayers worked.
Nice.
So I didn't get sunburned. Yeah. But it was pretty busy. It's been pretty busy. That was Santa Monica. Hope to get down to Huntington Beach where the people are a little bit more sensible, a little more conservative, pro-Trump, Christian, not so evil. But that's okay. So guys, let me tell you about this sad story though. Shout out to the blacks. We love black people. This is White History Month. White History Month is for blacks as well. We would not have a lot of black creativity that some of you guys enjoy, degenerates, were it not for white people. Okay, so you have whites to thank too for the black music and entertainment. Although that's not normal whites, but that's okay. I did not read this in Hake News, but I mentioned it. Another black mass shooting? I'm speculating that it's blacks. I mean, it's a safe assumption, right? They don't even mention the race of the victims or the perp at all, or perps at all. But according to the far-left extremist outlet Morning Brew, reporting this morning, 2 people were killed and 28 injured, 3 of them critically per NBC, far-left extremist NBC, in a shooting at a block party. I hear that and I think black. Maybe I'm wrong for profiling. I don't think profiling is wrong. In Baltimore on Sunday. What? Anytime it gets hotter, the shootings start increasing. They come outside. More than a dozen of the injured were minors, according to police, meaning under 18. Terrible. Right? Mass shooting, Baltimore. Baltimore, Maryland. Ceasefire, Baltimore. Stop it. July 1st at 6 Pacific time. No, July 2nd. Mass shooting occurred in Brooklyn neighborhood of Baltimore, Maryland during a Brooklyn Day celebration. Brooklyn Day celebration. Never heard of it. At least 2 were killed, 28 injured. Largest shooting incident in the city since at least 2014. Terrible. And I haven't heard anything about it being a white. Terrible. I guess it's terrible. I'm just saying terrible because it's, people getting hurt. I wouldn't want to get shot. That would be terrible. Seems like it would be terrible. So that's a little update there. The 2 who were killed were adults, just FYI. Violence was also reported in Chi-Town, Chicago, and Washington, D.C., and even Wichita, Kansas. I've been to Wichita. Kind of hot and humid over there. I could see being a flat earther, and if you live in Wichita, those people who can't see the ocean. Very flat, humid. Terrible. Alia Gonzalez, age 18, and Kailis Fagbemi, 20, were those killed. So you could barely call them adults. I mean, 20 years old. That's 18 years old. We've had immaturity inflation, or something like that. Immaturity of people older and older and older. 19 people were taken to the emergency department of MedStar Harbor Hospital. I was thinking about the destruction of destructive people, and how they don't bring value to society, and they make jobs like cops, cleanup, medical, emergency response stuff, jobs that don't intrinsically bring value. They just clean up the mess created by other people. You know, they clean up after the mess by other people. It's not increasing. It's not productive. They're just damage control. They're damage control. So different people, I don't want to say they are less valuable, but they bring more destruction as opposed to value to society. You notice that? I was thinking about that with, you know, like these plane crashes and things where people have to spend 3,000 man hours cleaning up this and identifying the bodies. What does that do? You just found out, okay, this person died. You could probably have guessed that. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's such a drain on society when people do evil or make mistakes that are like deadly or destructive or whatever. Frustrated officials, according to the failing New York Slimes, saw information from the public about this shooting, which happened early Sunday, which means after midnight, at a block party. What are they partying about? This is insanity, says a lawmaker calling for change. Bill Ferguson, president of the Maryland State Senate, I guess. Looks white, but I'm not sure. Spoke out after at least two or blah, blah, blah. What, are they going to blame guns or something like dumb like that? Gun violence, access to illegal guns. How about reform the blacks and the messed up families of most people nowadays? And it's funny, too. I'm looking at... Let me show you guys this screenshot of this photograph that I'm going to share with you in the folder shortly here. I used to think brick buildings were just attractive. But you see them now, and you see like a black standing outside of it, and then you see these like caution tape and tables all messed up and trash on the floor. I just dragged a screenshot into... Oh, yeah, nice. You're right on top of it. Doesn't that read like projects to you? Normally, bricks are attractive, but it's just trashy. Trash, presumably left over from people littering. Litter bugs. Another thing from people who trash a place. I remember I was living in Temple City for a while, renting in Temple City. Dude, it was nice. I loved it, man. Even though the Asians took over the place. Shout out to the Asians. But they, you know, build these McMansions and stuff. But some of them don't change the housing. And there's Hispanics and whites, leftover whites. Whites used to dominate that city. Quiet, neighborhoodly. And one time, like, I picked up a piece of trash, just walking on the sidewalk, and an old man's like, "This is the first time I've seen a man pick up the trash rather than litter. You're a good man." I'm like, thanks. I'm like, I'm not good. But look at these people. People! I mean, they probably had to scatter in a hurry. They would have cleaned up, right? They would have folded up these tables, put them away. Even the tables look ratty. Tables on the grass lawn. What are you partying about? What's to party about? And by the way, look at these metal handrails on this building. That's it's not unattractive. It's unattractive unless it's a school. It was beautiful. Some of these projects, meaning the ghetto, what a dump, says Kill the Ego. Yeah. Yeah, they were beautiful. I'm like, wow, that's pretty. But then you see the mess that happens, and then the mess that these people leave. Look at this. And they blame us for, like, putting them in the ghetto? No, they're creating their environment. By us, I mean, like, blaming whites of past generations or something like that. You can fix the place up. That guy is awfully dark. And he's one of the good ones, I think. Nice. No, I mean, I can't say. I suppose. In 2022, Baltimore, which is just last year, by the way, Baltimore recorded more than 300 homicides for the 8th consecutive year, despite new initiatives by city officials. In the first half of 2023, there had been 138 homicides, per the Baltimore Sun, far-left extremist Baltimore Sun. And they want to blame the guns, not the immoral, degenerate people. Shaking my head. A female councilman represents the neighborhood, Felicia Porter. Phylicia, I mean. Sounds black. Said the shooting was a wake-up call and asked for community members to channel their anger into demands for meaningful change. This incident represents a grave failure of our systems. It's completely unacceptable. What a silly lady. Almost, don't say dumb woman, kids. Not too much anyway. Silly lady. System. It's not the system, it's the corrupt people. People? Yes, they are people. We all know that. So that's the story on another shooting in Baltimore. Whew, be careful. Okay? Be careful out there. And I know there's some good eggs out there in Baltimore. I wonder if Giovanni Patterson is still trying to clean things up there. Be a light in a dark place. Giovanni Patterson. I've covered him before. He's suing the city and maybe the district for not educating the children. Just pushing junk. And more. More. So we wish you well over there in Baltimore. Did you know that the rent's too high in Australia? This is just a side note. Morning Brew, far left Morning Brew reports a growing number of Australian, and then I will get to your calls, guys. A growing number of Australian students are... This is vulgar. Is this vulgar? Hot-bedding. Hot-bedding. Sharing a bed with a stranger because rental costs are too high. I disavow this. Hot-bedding. Crazy. I thought that it was just... I guess it's all in the white countries or something. I don't know. What a mess. I don't know if that's the same guy, actually. Spoiler alert. Let me check. Or is it? Because it's Giovanni. J-O. That's Giovanni, not Giovanni. Giovanni Patterson. Jovanni. Maybe just one N. Patterson. Jovani. Patterson. Just FYI. Whew. But anyway, yeah, the rent is out of control in California. I didn't know it was that bad in down under. Are there any flat earthers down under? Shout out to the people in Australia and the Kiwis in New Zealand. I know you guys, some of you guys listen. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Okay. Gonna get to the truckers and some other things. Let me get to a couple of calls here, guys. Justin is in Texas on the line. Justin, thanks for calling, man. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, man? It's been a while. Last time I called you, I was in college, and...
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of which, I actually wanted to talk to you about this affirmative action stuff, you know, the very good thing that the Supreme Court has finally struck it down. But the one thing that I haven't noticed the media talk about is in some of these universities, you know, they won't just take into consideration race, they'll also take into consideration disability. And
right.
as someone with disabilities, I don't want to be a diversity admission because a university wants to look good by just a small group of people. I want to be looked at based on my merit. MLK said merit, not color of skin, but that can also extend to disability to a certain extent.
Yeah. I didn't know that you have a handicap of some sort. You don't have to tell what it is.
Remember when I told you I was autistic?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And there are some private or some public universities.
Are you high functioning? Or is it considered high functioning?
It's considered high functioning. It's technically Asperger's.
Okay. Nice.
But
right
yeah,
on. Shout out to the high functioning autistic people.
And hey, I'm going to, and I am transferring to another university, but the thing is, I'm going in for broadcasting, and I was given an opportunity to actually be at one of their radio stations and learn some skills. And
sweet.
What I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to be a program director of a radio station, and I want to take the skills that I learned here to do this because, look, I'm not a person who's against college. In my kind of field, you need college to get into a higher-up position. Now, if you're just going to be a reporter...
What field is that?
Broadcasting.
Okay.
It's radio.
Oh, really? You need a degree to go higher up?
Well, not necessarily, but it does look better on you, and it's much easier to get those opportunities.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a lot easier to get, especially given the fact that I'm actually going to be getting training at a radio station that I'm actually going to be helping build. So not only am I going to be operating one, I'm going to be building it, basically. In fact, I'm literally
Stay close to your phone so that you don't go a little bit muffled.
Oh, I do apologize here. I got to be a little quiet because I'm in my house right now and my mom's still sleeping, so I apologize.
Okay. Wow. Whoa, she's a late sleeper.
I'm a late sleeper too. It runs in the family.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm happy about the fact that the Supreme Court struck down something that's not just racist, but that's ableist to a certain extent in some places.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like I said earlier, I don't want to be hired I don't want to be admitted because they check my records, they see my Asperger's and are like, okay, we're going to look good if we get this person over this person, so let's get this person.
Yep. True. Are you fat or fit? Just out of curiosity.
I'm overweight, but my blood pressure's low, my blood sugar's low, everything else is perfectly fine, and I'm still losing weight. So
right on, man. You're exercising then and eating right.
I'm exercising, even though look, I think the BMI is BS
bogus
because it only takes into account weight and height. What about chest size? What about waist size, arm size, leg size?
You're pretty proportional and strong.
Yep.
Right on. That's cool.
Body fat is actually a little under average. Normally it's 17%. Mine's around 15%. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy that they're going to continue doing de facto affirmative action. That's what we have in California. That's what we have for vice president. That's what we have in the Supreme Court.
The irony is California actually banned affirmative action in colleges, but you still see some of them trying to go around it.
Exactly. That's what I mean, is that the affirmative action, what a euphemism, by the way, because what it is I don't want to say kissing up. I want to say kissing up, but that doesn't really do it. It's not really accurate to what it is. It's kind of partly that, but it's not what it is. But
no.
Yeah, in the sense that affirmative is a negative, meaning it's evil, misguided. Yeah.
Yeah,
unjust.
It is definitely negative because what it basically puts people like me down to in some places is paperwork.
Yeah.
Instead of ability.
Right.
And that's offensive to me. That's offensive, and very few things offend me. But one of the things that offends me is ignorance, and this is ignorance.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's shallow.
It is.
Yeah. And they're pretending that they're correcting things. If anything, nowadays people have an have a natural inclination to kiss up and cater to and give them more opportunities because they're black. It's like they're brainwashed and trained to be like that.
Yeah. And the thing is, for me, I was given a lot of handouts from individuals because of my Asperger's. And while I was happy I got them, I didn't feel like I really deserved them. Because I felt like they were doing it trying to win me over, trying to say, hey, look, we're on your side, when I don't need handouts for you to be on my side. Just try to understand what's going on in my life, and that's all I need. And, of course, the other side has happened. Normally, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
But if you're right in the middle, you're just like, hey, I want to learn more about what you have. I want to learn more how it affects you individually. I'm an individualist. Thank God for that. And, you know, that's what makes you someone who's good. I remember I used to work at a newspaper, and they were really good in terms of, they were small. They weren't corporate. I mean, I'm against corporatism, but I don't want the government trying to take it away. That's up to us, the individuals.
Right.
But I digress. It's just like radio, ironically, because there's only a few companies that own all the radio stations, or most of them, but that's up to us to tune out as protest. But I digress. They treated me as if I was just another employee. I wrote stories, I delivered newspapers to the newsstand, and thanks to them being treated just like another employee, I learned work ethic, I learned behavioral skills that helped with controlling my Asperger's and ADHD, and I became a better person because of it. And then when I launched, I have 3 internet radio stations of my own. I learned more work ethic because I actually learned how to manage things, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I learned how to do all these things, and I've done many all-nighters to get these stations ready and up and running.
Yep.
But the thing is, look, I'm 20. I want to be an alpha. I want to be a provider. I want to be a protector. I want to be a person who, look, I don't mind if my woman has a part-time job or a full-time job or whatever, but if we have kids, one of us needs to stay home.
Right.
One of us needs to stay home, whether it's me getting a job where I can be remote to where I can be around the kids, or if my wife wants to be a traditional housemaker.
But you're getting kind of ahead of yourself. Are you living with your mother right now?
Well, yes and no. I'm not living per se. I'm just here until I get back to a dorm. The thing is, because of my disability, it's much harder for me to find a job. And if I was able to get a job, I would move out.
I suggest calling it a handicap, maybe.
To an extent, it is, yeah. I mean,
as opposed to a disability.
You're completely right.
I don't think that disability is the right word, because you're still quite able.
Right. And the thing is, I'm only calling it that because it's the government definition, and it's easier to understand than handicap. Because if you hear the word handicap, you're going to think, oh, this person can't use his legs, can't use his arms, etc.
Why do you feel you have Asperger's?
I was diagnosed by 4 different doctors.
How come
over the past 17 years?
What's that?
Over the past 17 years, I've been consistently diagnosed with either high-functioning autism.
Why
or
did they test you for it?
Which are the same. Well, because my mother saw that I had signs of it, and they wanted to see, does this person have more signs?
Okay, so other than a diagnosis, you can't tell?
I can tell, ironically. It's mostly in communication.
And
because the thing is,
what happens
for me,
that indicates it? Yeah, go ahead.
Social awkwardness, not being able to understand social norms. I mean, of course, that's something that a lot of people who aren't autistic have, but it's prevalent in a lot of people who have my form of autism.
Okay. So it sounds like it's what a lot of people have, like you just said.
Yeah.
Well,
and I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
it's just
don't let it
prevalent.
But it says unable to understand, but you are able to understand.
Well, let me rephrase it. It's impaired. Not completely unable, but it's an impairment. That's ironically part of my Asperger's. I'll use the wrong word by accident, and give it
but everybody uses the wrong word. You can't chalk. You can't chalk everything up to right to Asperger's.
I completely agree with that. But the thing is, like I said, it's more dominant. It's like, let's say you have a disorder where this happens to you twice a day. For me, it'll happen 10 times a day. You know what I mean? It'll happen once in a while for someone who doesn't have this disorder, but someone who does, it'll happen more. That's literally how it is for me. And I also have ADHD as well as generalized anxiety disorder. Those two are actually run in the family, whereas my autism is a recessive.
You think it's genetic, huh?
It may be. I don't
because
know.
running
I'm
in the
not
family
necessarily
can
saying
also
it's
mean the
genetic.
family culture. As
Maybe.
different people have different issues and the way
And
that
that is
people are
possible.
raised and act and the
Maybe.
environment.
And that is a good thing. I mean, autism can be caused by environmental factors. So what you're saying isn't completely, out of the ordinary.
Right.
And it is very logical because I know a lot of people, I actually know a few people myself who have ADHD, but no one else in their family has it. And I know some who have ADHD, and quite a few people have ADHD. In their
When I was a
family.
kid, it was called ADD.
And then they had ADHD. Yeah.
Right. Attention
mine is
deficit
the
disorder.
inattentive type.
And then they added attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or something like that.
Which, to be fair, I think is a proper diagnosis, but do I think it's overdiagnosed? Maybe. I don't think it's definitively overdiagnosed, but there is evidence to show that it is a possibility,
They put that on boys a lot, right? And don't they give them Ritalin or something like that?
For me, I actually didn't have medication for about 5, 6, 7 years. It was during late middle school and all into high school. I actually had to get medication because my anxiety was getting really bad because I was getting into college. So I had to be put on medication.
Man. How about now? Are you on that stuff? If you don't mind my asking.
I'm on it, and it helps perfectly for me. It helps for a person like me who has those issues.
But man, you've grown up in this.
Getting mad just because.
Yeah, you've grown up in this world where all this stuff is normal to be diagnosed with it as though it's a medical condition. When I don't think that this,
right.
this spirit does affect the body. So of course it's gonna have some detection in the physical body.
Right.
But
and to be fair, I think ADHD should be reassessed in terms of what the disorders are, or
and
what
anxiety,
the symptoms are,
especially anxiety, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have anxiety, but mine is so bad that it's a specific disorder because it's organized. Most people who have anxiety have it in a disorganized fashion, where it's just here and there. Whereas someone who has disorder, it's an organized set of events, which is how it is for me.
An organized set of events?
An organized set of events that causes anxiety.
I'm stumped.
Give
me an example. Briefly give me an example of what organized set of events caused your anxiety.
Let me give you a comparison. Okay, so like I said,
no. Give me an example of what organized set of events happened to you.
All right, so let's say I'm
because you said college. College was coming.
College, right? I myself had a job at college. I'm not going to go into specifics, but almost every day I would have some type of anxiety event, whether it was a resident, an individual having, some beef with me, trying to argue with me to get something done, trying to possess alcohol, which wasn't allowed. And the thing is, it started all right. I mean, I was able to try to get used to it, but then the anxiety developed to the point where, you could actually see that my anxiety was more organized. Like, if he's in this job, he's going to deal with it no matter what. Whereas, like I said, someone who doesn't have an anxiety disorder, they'll have it every once in a while during it, but it's not going to matter what job they have, what condition they have, where they're at, what they do. It'll just pop up on occasion because maybe they're just overwhelmed. But with me, I'm constantly overwhelmed, and I think part of that's my ADHD as well because for me, it's very overwhelming, and that's why I was diagnosed with ADHD because I can't focus very easily.
Do you have your father in the house?
I have a father figure. I don't have a father, but I have a stepfather, and he's a really good person.
Oh, okay. Man, it's a shame that they've brainwashed the young people to just fully accept all of this stuff as
someone with those disabilities, I completely agree because there are some people who are brainwashed. Whereas with me and many others, it was genuine. We went to good doctors that actually knew what they were doing. But now too many doctors want to fess up to the woke mob and just give disorders like it was nothing.
I'm sure that even in that world, there's like better and worse doctors. But I mean, even in your case, it seems like you've embraced this thing as like a medical condition. What caused it? Like, there's also good and bad parents, and
potentially,
yeah.
And my parents, my mom's good. My father wasn't really that good, but my stepfather's great. But my thing is, like I said, the thing is,
but maybe your mom wasn't as good. Like, you've kind of accepted it.
Oh, she's an
function.
awesome mom. She is the definition of a mother. She's a supportive mother, but she also knows how to discipline.
I'm sure.
She knows how to discipline. She knows how to be a good mother, and heck, she knows how to cook and clean.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I mean, the thing is, in my situation, I know it's genuine.
You weren't diagnosed with any of this stuff at 2, were you? At age 2?
I was diagnosed with being on the spectrum at age 3, but I wasn't diagnosed with a specific form until age 9.
Oh, okay.
As in being on the spectrum of autism.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed at 3, diagnosed at 9, diagnosed at 19 and 20, I believe.
Do you ever catch the church services with JLP?
I do.
Isn't it nice? Don't you like his don't call this yours? Because you call it my anxiety. Don't you like the you can call it the anxious spirit or whatever you want to call it that takes over you?
Yeah, but that might actually be a bit more optimistic there.
Yeah, because you don't want to be like you don't want to. As Coldberger Art on Twitch said in the chat earlier.
Well, when I say my anxiety or my Asperger's, I don't say it pessimistically. I say it realistically. I say it in a realist way.
Okay.
There's no pessimism. It's just a neutral thing.
But he said.
The thing is, I use this and I still go forward no matter what.
Right.
I just know I
cool.
have some blockades
I can tell.
Between I got to go over, and it's not me being pessimistic. It's just the truth.
But he said in the chat that you said it almost with an air of pride in the diagnosis, like you've identified with it.
It's not necessarily an identity or pride. It's just knowing that I have it, and I don't want it to seem like I have pride because, of course, that's a sin. It's a sin to be prideful.
Right.
And the thing is, this is
But you also want to know that you don't know or understand it fully, just as those doctors don't know or understand it fully.
Well, no one's going to understand a disorder like this fully. It's a very complex disorder that requires years of research and requires a team of people to go in and see the nitty-gritty. And I don't think we're going to be able to
but I don't know if,
that
but I say that that's sort of barking up the wrong tree by talking about research and all that stuff, because the researchers are dealing with the same issues that you and I are, and everybody else is. They got issues, and one of the communist subversions of society was to replace the pastor and the father and the men and the common sense wisdom with experts and psychologists and science.
And I agree, that is ridiculous. I am a Christian, and I'm proud of being a Christian. I go to church almost every Sunday, so I agree with you. You shouldn't be worshiping them. Now, if you want to go to them for advice, or
and they don't have the whole truth
on in your life, that's fine.
They don't have the whole truth on on the condition of what's going on in your life.
Completely agree, because each person is different.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's why, heck.
And yet everybody's the same.
Which is not true. Not everyone.
Well, there's the same in that they have the same predictable, messed up issues, messed up human nature. That's what I mean by the same.
And this is something that you got to give credit to the autism community for this. One of our sayings is, if you've met
autism
one autistic,
community.
you've met one autistic.
Say again?
They say community. I They say community. It's weird, but
Right.
what? Let me rephrase it. Autistic people. Say,
Right.
Not the community,
Yeah.
just autistic people. If you met one autistic, you met one autistic. Because the good thing about autism is that there's no one definitive, like, you have to have this, and this. But there's a minimal kind of combination to a certain extent. But even then, the combination is flexible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas with
People
other
are.
disorders, you have to have this, and this. Whereas with autism, there's maybe some minimal stuff you have to have. But even that's flexible.
Yeah. It's
But
great
I
talking to you,
completely
man.
agree. Yeah, but-
Do you have, I picture you with dark brown hair now that I know that you're autistic and slightly
You are
supposedly
completely
overweight.
right.
Is it dark brown hair?
I have dark brown hair and a little beard.
Not trying to dox you. Oh, right on, man.
Hey, I mean, you're right. I don't think you're going to dox me. I don't
No,
think
no.
anyone dox me, to be honest. But what I'm saying, but before I get off of here,
Yeah.
you definitely have some great points going on with Big Pharma. And as someone who's been diagnosed with disorders that Big Pharma would definitely glorify,
Yeah.
I think that Big Pharma is stupid sometimes.
Yeah.
But I also know that for me, having these things diagnosed does help me know what I have in life, and it helps me improve. It helps me learn, and it helps me go over obstacles that I wouldn't know I had if I didn't have these. Now, for some people, they've been misdiagnosed, and I think that's because of Big Pharma. But for me, I feel like my diagnoses have been diagnosed right. And if they've been misdiagnosed, I'll be happy to take an L or whatever people want to call it.
Now, did you know that my former de facto producer, Dylon, is also a high-functioning autistic, he says.
Nice.
And he wrote a book
So-
called Bad Choices Make Good Stories.
That is true. Bad choices do make good stories.
Terrible.
completely
I
agree with
disavow.
that phrase.
It's great to
But
hear
also,
from you, Justin.
good stories might make bad choices.
Say that again?
Good stories might also make bad choices.
Yeah, true. Egos.
But anyway,
Happy White History Month, man.
thank you. Yep, and happy 4th.
Yes. Take care, man.
You too. Bye.
All right. Thank you guys for bearing with me through that pretty nice call. I went long, but I wanted to hear a little bit of that stuff. David in Texas wants to talk about this affirmative action stuff. Let me get to him quickly here. David, thanks for calling and holding. What's up?
Hey, thanks, Hake.
Yeah.
Love your show, man. Hey, I was just going to say that I really liked that last caller too, and trying to say trying not to judge him, without any ego or anything like that. But it's when you say something like a community, that's it kind of confines you, right? Like if I was
Right.
if I had trouble drinking, I wouldn't want to be like, oh, I need to be part of my alcoholics community, because then you kind of feel like you have that label stuck on you.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm not saying that you're not autistic, but maybe if you would go for a week without mentioning your autism, just don't ever mention the word autism, or don't ever think about autism. And if you do have anxiety or something like that, just treat it as the anxiety, but not put a label on it. Maybe that would be helpful.
Maybe
I
so,
don't know,
yeah.
man.
You're so right, and I chalk that up in part because he's a relatively young man, 20 years old. I mean, I
would not have noticed at all any
Yeah.
kind of if this was 50 years ago, he probably would never have been diagnosed.
True.
And maybe he got some extra help because he was diagnosed early. But
Yeah.
now, I mean, I don't know if autism is something you grow out of, but I certainly didn't see anything.
It sounds like
he seemed just like a regular guy to me. Not regular meaning not autistic, but I didn't mean that in a bad way.
Right. Well, I think that both he and my former de facto producer Dylon have grown and can grow and learn just like the rest of us. We people think that I'm undiagnosed autistic, but people just have issues and weaknesses and hangups and mental blocks, and this sets up, like
We all
you
have
said,
that.
with this identity. That's why I love JLP's message about
Well, yeah, I know.
identifying.
That's why I got it from. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Don't call it this. Even the tension that supposedly normal people feel, that tension is not the person feeling it. It's the demon. We're demon possessed, and that demon is feeling it. It's not us. And when you identify with it, it traps you. It locks you in. Just like calling yourself an alcoholic, or like what he says, don't call yourself that, because then you're just locked in and think you identify with it, which is the mind is so powerful to trap you or to free you.
That's right.
Yeah. Whew. Interesting, man.
Yeah, no, so, but all the best for that caller. It sounds like a really good guy, and, nothing but the best. But two things I wanted to mention about, one thing was about affirmative action.
Right.
And, it was really interesting because I'm sure a lot of callers here or listeners know about Thomas Sowell.
Uh-huh.
And really smart black man that graduated from Stanford, wrote all these books, and he was asked about affirmative action. And one of the mentions that he said was, a lot of minorities were placed in elite colleges, to try to advance them, but they just weren't ready for them, and they ended up flunking out or doing badly, or things not working out in maybe in Harvard, where he would have gotten along just fine, or even graduated with honors at like a lower tier school, but like you're still a lawyer, you're still a doctor, you know what I mean? Like, we don't do any good in setting people up by putting them in positions they're not qualified for, because they're just going to have, a harder time. And it's like,
and it's messing, they get an entitled, spoiled attitude sometimes. They get resentful that they're treated with more suspicion, as though they are just an affirmative action acceptee. It just sets up more suspicion. This anti-racism stuff sets up more suspicion and resentment and injustice. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually kind of, I don't mind the whole like student athlete stuff, because if you're like a really amazing athlete and you're fished by an elite school that wants to, take advantage of your athletic ability, I mean, I think that's totally fine. I think that's great, and that you can leverage that.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, the school that I went to, a lot of student athletes were minorities, and the education that they got by going to these elite schools, even those were compromised, right? Because like, they didn't go to that school for a STEM degree or or something else. They just ended up doing like the bottom tier stuff that they could just kind of get by with. I mean, the education didn't even come first in that sense, So like, even then it was compromised in a way. So I don't know.
One of the guys in the chat, Twitch chat, I'm searching for the name, says, "Hey, you're the one suspicious of them. That's not their fault." No, but they're suspicious of whites. They think that every white, if they get into some type of situation, they think that the white is being racist, just because they're just looking at I'm black, he's white, we're having a conflict, must be because I'm black. And that's what I mean by and the whites too, and it's so it is a mess.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention one more thing before I go, and that's, and this is really interesting too, I wanted to mention, is that I feel like even more, how do you say, affirmative action, how do you say, people say like you can be set back from education, right? Or maybe set back from going to an elite school or whatever.
Yeah.
What I think, what is even a bigger setback, especially for really intelligent people and men, is getting mixed up with the wrong woman. that can set you back way further than any education, any job, anything. Dude, I'm so serious.
I know.
And like that's way worse. And dude, I have, sorry, my dude's, my surfer talk came out.
That's funny.
I was going to say, like, I know so many people, like, really smart, graduated at the top of their class, went to a really good school, or maybe they went to the military, right? And, like, had so much going for them, and they met the wrong woman, and she just completely just cleared him out and set him back at least 10 or 20 years, man. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, if you're listening, like, meeting the wrong woman is just, it's the worst thing that can happen to you. Seriously.
I think that it's true, but it's not the whole truth, because the whole truth is you're the wrong man. Because a man, first of all, who is a man wouldn't get involved with the wrong woman that much. And were he to slip up and get involved a little bit, wouldn't get so into her that she's able to set him back and that he's able to set himself back. You know what I mean?
So first of all, that's a great point. But two things I wanted to mention on that is the first thing is that, you know, when you have these kids that all they do is study, right? And all they do is just like work hard and focus on themselves and try to get ahead, but they don't know anything about women, right? Like they're kind of like, they might be kind of nerdy or they might be just kind of self-focused or whatever, right? I'll deal with that later. They're not educated they don't know what kind of evil is out there lurking. And there's predatory women out there that are like, oh, he's got a nice job. He's got some money. He's got whatever. And they get manipulated super easy. And, you know, you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, it's their fault.
Right.
Like, it is their fault. But, what, you know...
Their parents were so hung up on getting them an education that they ignored street smarts.
Absolutely.
Real world.
Absolutely. You know, and there's so many parents that are like, oh, my son got all A's and all this nonsense. And then it's like, yeah, but he got destroyed. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's just, and the other thing I was going to say is, you know, men have to be out there with a hand tied behind their back. James, if you marry the wrong woman, right? Unless, you know, you shouldn't have gotten yourself to that point to begin with. But let's say you wake up and you marry the wrong woman. You know, there's only so much that you can do to put her in her place before the cops start banging on your door. Like men don't have the same. There's only so much you can do as a man.
True.
To, you know, quote. I know this sounds really bad, but to quote, put a woman in her place. You can't. I mean, you can't hit her. You can't. I'm not saying that you should. Right.
I totally know.
There's no reason to hit a woman. I get that, but it's like, you're limited as to what you can do. A girl can go crazy and start breaking stuff in your house, and, you know, you got to put her in like a submission hold or something like that. You know, what do you do?
And you can't even do that too much.
You can't even do that. You know, it's like if you go through a divorce, you just have to hope, like, man, I hope she doesn't say I hit her. I hope she doesn't say I did drugs. I hope she didn't come up with some nonsense to try to put, you know, because they literally can do whatever. Yeah.
That's why that's why the when in doubt, don't thing is such so powerful. And listen to those little warnings that you tend to overlook and just pass on by and charge on ahead.
Well, it's just like, if you're out there and you're listening, because I'm older now, you know, I've seen some stuff, but if you're like a teenager or you're in your 20s and you're doing well for yourself and you got some momentum going, you know, just please take my word of caution. You know, make sure you find the right girl. And if, you know, sometimes that means, like, don't get married right away, right? If you meet some chick and she's like, oh, you know, I love you, and, you know, let's get married, and she tries to accelerate things too quickly, that's a big red flag. Yeah. And you might be like, oh, you know, man, she really digs me. Like, she's super into me. Like, this is really going to work out. But it's like, that's a giant red flag.
Yeah. JLP says 7 years, no sex before getting married. 7 years dating. That way you get to know her and you're not all caught up in the emotions and selfishness of the S word. I just said it. And then you can see her clearly and yourself clearly.
Yeah.
And that may not be a hard, fast rule. I don't know. But the point is the same, like as what you said about.
Yeah.
And it's not about finding one. It's like let life happen rather than trying to make stuff happen.
Well, and again, man, speaking as an older guy, it's like.
How much older are you? You don't sound that old. How old are you?
I'm 40, man.
Oh, all right. I mean, you've lived a bit of a life, so that's. I guess we can.
Right. Well, I've been.
You're not MGTOW. Are you MGTOW? Men going their own way?
No. Well, I'm definitely not MGTOW.
Okay.
But I'm divorced with a kid.
Okay.
And
you got the kid?
So, yeah.
Nice.
I'm like, I know, right?
Yeah, it's not so common.
Yeah, it's really not. I don't take it for granted either, man.
That's cool.
I know how blessed I am. So, but I went through hell before I got to the other side.
Is it hard? Is it hard emotionally? I mean, like, you ever like miss her? Your idea of her?
No.
Nice.
And what I'm saying, well, here's what I mean. Because she would let her emotions take over to the point where she was uncontrollable.
Right.
And like I was saying before, it would have taken me to do something that I'd probably get arrested for to keep her in line. And it's like, you can't do that. You can't do that.
So it was only right to let her leave. She left? She left. Yeah. Well, that's the Christian way, is to let her leave. You can't force her to stay. And you wouldn't want to. So she did you a favor. Right? I think.
Right. Well, but that was another thing, though, too, and that's a really good point that you bring up, because as Christians, you want to make it work, right? Like, you really want to make a relationship or make a marriage work, especially if there's kids.
If she's willing to stay, but if she's not, then you let her leave.
Well, yeah, but here's what happened, is that she knew I would do whatever it took to keep the relationship going.
Yeah, they use it as a weakness. And it may have been a weakness.
So they use it as leverage. Yes, so they use that as leverage to basically cut away at you until there's nothing left.
Yeah.
And so the smart thing in my case would have been to have left earlier.
Maybe so, yeah. I mean, it wasn't a real marriage.
Or to not have, because if I would have
not
said,
even
hey.
getting married, you saying?
Well, yeah. That's
to not have what?
What?
To not have what? Because
to not have let her treat me that way.
Yeah.
But, that wouldn't have lasted long to begin either,
Well, she would shape up or ship out.
Right. I mean, maybe if I had given her an ultimatum, maybe it would have been like a coin flip, right? Or maybe worse odds.
Yeah.
But if she decided to shape up, then great. If not, there's a door. My thinking is she probably would have said, see you later, F you, blah, 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 but,
and that'd be fine. That's the, and
but
that's
just not the mentality that I had, because I was from a two-parent household, and I wanted that for my kid. And I had the assumption that no matter what, a two-parent household would be better than a one-parent household. And they talk about women having. Right. Well, I've learned a lot more since then.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard about women being, was it bipolar narcissism?
Uh-huh.
Or bipolar,
one of those mumbo jumbo words that they come up with to describe evil people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm learning more about some of the evil sides women's nature and stuff. And you know, it's funny because you were asking about if I ever thought about getting back with my ex. And
I wasn't even thinking that. I was just thinking about the emotional missing part. I wasn't talking
no,
about...
that's definitely there. And but you know what? It's like, and sex is nice too. Like it is, obviously. And you know, I've been in relationships. You know, I know what it's all about. Blah blah blah. You know, I have a kid. He wasn't from divine whatever. You know, but it's like I miss that too. But what I miss more is the camaraderie. You know, I miss being in a relationship, and I know that's an old school thing to say.
Yeah.
But you know, if Jesse Lee Peterson talks about being with someone for 7 years without sex, it's like, you know, he might be onto something because, you know, I mean, sex is emotional, yeah, but it's also physical too.
Right.
And, but like having a deep emotional bond with somebody is really special. And, you know, I thought I had that, but I didn't.
Isn't that interesting? It's an illusion. It's funny that you wanted this ideal, and that was a setup. It was a weakness. You wanted this ideal of the father and mother in the home for your kid, and that was a mistake to want that. Well, you know,
dude, man, I know I'm taking a lot of your time, but
You're fine, man.
I just want to.
Go ahead.
You just made me think of something like. Okay, and this is how it's because I'm an older millennial. Like I just
same.
My ex was actually older than me. She was Generation X.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I had a thing for older women back then. But
terrible.
But when I was, I feel like it's changed a lot. Like when I was growing up, and when we were when I was a teenager and stuff. Like everybody wanted to get into a relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody wanted a girlfriend. Everybody wanted, you know, to have like a significant other, blah, blah, blah. Where I feel like nowadays, everybody just wants to hook up. And like nobody really cares about a relationship. They just want to, it's like that hookup culture is so, like they just want to get with as many people as they can.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like that's been a big change because, like, my younger brother, was with this girl of his for like 4 years, and they broke up. And he was like, "Oh man, you know, I shouldn't have dated her for 4 years. I should have just slept around." Like, afterward,
they go the opposite extreme of it goes from bad to worse. Their solutions are go ahead. They're worse.
Well,
than the problem.
it was just like, but. What are you talking about? Like being with someone for a long time and getting to know them and getting close with them and stuff. I mean, isn't that the ideal? It's like, why are we like, even if it didn't work out, I still feel like that's more important than like just having a bunch of one night stand. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because that's just selfishness and you're not learning anything. Well, maybe there's other stuff to learn when you're making that error, continuing, we'll call it error, when you're continuing in that error. But when you continue in just the normal error of trying to date and see about whatever, like a long-term relationship, that's wrong when you're doing the S thing and when you have the wrong relationship with them and like mutual need for each other, false need for each other.
Yeah.
But you're going from one bad idea to another bad solution.
That's right.
For the selfishness of people. That's interesting, man. I hadn't considered that. The hookup thing being so prevalent.
And I don't know. Maybe it's just my perception. I just feel like things have changed.
I think you're right.
Maybe it's like the whole Tinder thing. It's like, but I just feel like people moved from wanting a serious relationship to wanting to go from that exclusive monogamous relationship to hookups and like.
Well, people are disillusioned with how they see how bad relationships are, so they just want to do nothing serious now and just be silly women. Everybody, including the males, being silly women. with these bad ideas.
And that's the thing too. It's like, knowing what I know now, would I get married again? I don't. I might have a relationship with somebody, but in terms of getting married again, I don't know.
Yeah,
I want to say no.
It's funny that you said, because I remember being in high school. That was the first time I ever heard the term significant other. You said in high school people wanted a relationship, a significant other.
Well, just like, I mean, like having a serious relationship but not getting married.
Right,
know?
but that's
like when you're in high school or college or whatever, you have that serious girlfriend or whatever that you've had.
Yep. That's when the gays were starting to take over and entrench their language change to make themselves seem acceptable.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Well, thank you, David in Texas. Great call, man. Very interesting.
Oh,
Appreciate
dude,
it.
thanks a lot for having me on the show, man. It's a great show.
All right. Call me again sometime.
All right, man.
Happy White History Month, by the way.
Yes. Happy White History Month to you, too, man.
Are you
Thanks.
white or black or Hispanic or both or all three?
I'm mixed, so my mom is white, so I grew up with a white culture, but my dad is Hispanic. Like, if you saw me on the street, you just think I was a white guy.
Okay.
But, thank you to all the white people out there that treated me like anybody else.
Nice.
And saw past my color. And thank you, white people. I really appreciate that. And I try to work hard to toe my own, pull my own.
Right on, man. Take care, David.
All right, man. You too.
All right. Guys, we are past the top of the hour, 12 minutes after. Almost too late to play it, but it's not too late. Hang tight, callers. There is one line open. I will get back to you guys and more stuff, but it's time for some white history music. It's Whiteheart. Whiteheart is back. Or they're not back, but I'm going to play them again. This is called Morningstar, which I may have to disavow. It's all one word, Morningstar, by Whiteheart from some album in the 90s, I think. I forget. I hope you like it. You musical Philistines, you can grin and bear it. You can cover your ears and sing la la la. You can go outside, shovel snow, rake leaves, plant your garden, harvest your crops, crack the whip, or get it cracked. I'll be right back for the rest of hour 2. Hang tight.
Hear the tale of a fallen people, destined to wander the broken land. Their eyes are vacant, full of empty meaning, what their miscellaneous don't understand. Beyond the dark horizon, out where the people are crying, a morning star will be rising, rising to show us the way. Long ago a secret treasure was given to change the heart of every woman and man. But somehow the treasure was forgotten. It lies buried underneath the shifting sand. Beyond the dark horizon, out where the people are crying, a morning star will be rising, rising up with the bright dawn of healing, rising up to show us the way.
90s music, says Tim Scott, the real one. Nice harmonics.
Our eyes are not seeing, our hearts are not feeling. We want to believe now. Come save us from ourselves.
I like it. I like the drummer, guitarist, vocals. Shout out to the Christian musicians.
Beyond the dark horizon, out where the people are dying, the Son of Man will be rising.
And shout out to Chris in Arizona.
The glory of the Lord will be shining. Shatter the dark
A bit reminiscent of Eagles, says spoiler alert.
out where the people are crying. A morning star will be rising, rising to show us the
Isn't this kind of cool? This isn't too bad, Hake. It's gonna snow. Hake finally playing something good. Hey. Good vibes. For once, Hake, you have chosen a good band to play. Well, I hope you like the other tracks, too. Sounds like it could be in Rocky IV. Space Cadet says, biblical question. Why are both Jesus and Satan referred to as the morning star? Is that true? Is that true? I disavowed that because, and Hassan says, indeed, yes, it is true with the thumbs up. Because I disavowed Morning Star because I thought that Satan or Lucifer or the devil was called the Morning Star. But this is a Christian band. So anyway, thank you guys for bearing with me through that beautiful music. Nice. I have some super chats to read, guys. Quite a few before I get back to calls. Time is ticking, so I will try to be quick. Thank you, guys. Over on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. Hat tip to Nightwave Radio. That's how I learned about Buy Me a Coffee. JLP is on there too. JLP talk? No, I forget. Happy White History Month, Hake. When, and I stress when, do you think we will see the France riots begin in America? Oof. I saw this buy me these 3 coffees this morning, actually. I saw them coming in. I got an email alert before my show even started. And I was like, oh, man. You mean when, not if? I cannot predict when. JLP predicts a long, hot summer, meaning riots. Another insurrection across the country. He thinks they're going to burn down the white universities. I don't know. I can't predict it, but there is a whole lot of evil. I will say one thing about the black Americans and the black-hearted evil Antifa. I've never heard of them cutting off somebody's hands, as I heard that they cut off, the rioters, which could be some North Africans and other evil people. Not that all the North Africans are evil. There's some good ones, right? Yes, of course, duh. But, maybe they're Muslim, or I don't know what they're doing, but somebody tried to stop the rioting, and they cut off his hands, I heard. I have not looked into the story at all, but whew. Crazy. Yeah, JLP's is buymeacoffee.com/JLP talk. I was stumped. Man, I don't know. I do not know. They may kill you, but at least they won't cut off your hands. Whew. Reverend Ralph bought 5 coffees. Reverend Ralph here. God called me to be a street preacher 7 years ago. Love what y'all do. 2 questions. Do black people deserve less? Question mark. Also, where is Chris on the JLP show? Did he quit? Sour cream Chris. Because he's white. Ugh. Sour cream and onion Pringles are good. But I do not like sour cream. Maybe you can trick me. Maybe you can, or maybe you can make it good by turning it into like Southwest maybe. Or maybe you can do that with, what's that other gross white stuff? Mayonnaise. By turning it Southwest or spicy or something. But no, I do not like sour cream. He moved on. Don't know exactly where he is at this point. But he moved on. He's doing well, I think. Black people, do they deserve less? Less than what? Less than what they're getting? Yeah, they don't deserve handouts. That's not good. You know, somebody in the chat, Mog Johnny, I think, in the Twitch chat. Did you know Hake streams on Twitch? Hey, what's up, Kale, over on Facebook? Said that my first caller today, Justin, the guy who calls himself anxious, ADHD, or HDHD, and autistic or Asperger's, high functioning on the spectrum. He said that people wanted to give him a handout or gave him handouts, but he's not for that. And Mog Johnny jumped on him. He got handouts, but he doesn't want others to get it. Well, right is right. Irregardless, which is not a word, unless you believe the dictionary, which is fake news, of the fact that you were given a handout, it doesn't make it right. You should stand for what's right, regardless of the right or wrong things that have come upon you for your benefit. Right? Right. If you follow what I'm saying. So yes, black people do deserve less in the sense of the material stuff and kissing up. They deserve less kissing up. That's if they have respect for themselves, they would agree. And a lot of them do have some respect for themselves. So nice. By the way, shout out to the Twitter people. Over on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/The Hake Report. Based America first with a couple of coffees. Joe Obama administration fight climate change by forcing people onto non-sufficient solar panel power generation. Interesting. Also, Joe Obama administration fight climate change by chemically modifying the atmosphere to block sunlight. What could possibly go wrong? Can we block the stupid instead? Sorry, kids. Can we block the stupid instead? That's a good question. It's kind of like we need black reform and to deal with black brutality, because there is some brutality and changes within oneself that is good, that you ought to do, rather than gun reform or police reform. Yeah, we can do some of that too. Well, the gun thing, we need to open it up so that people are free again. We need morality back. Based America First says, unsurprisingly tone deaf, Ketanji Brown Jackson and faux Kahontas, meaning fake Kahontas, meaning Elizabeth Warren, complain that they wouldn't have jobs without affirmative action. Pocahontas is a purportedly white woman, and Ketanji Onyeka Brown Jackson is a black female. Liz, I think they would have jobs. They would just have more appropriate jobs than the jobs that they have currently, which are not appropriate for them. Liz Cheney complains idiots are being elected. Well, they're also getting primaried, Liz Cheney. Didn't she get primaried? Knowing nothing about transportation, Affirmative Action Secretary Pete Buttigieg is concerned that no one will build him a website. That's funny. If he has a fake same-sex wedding website. Terrible. That's funny. Interesting. Thank you, Based America First. Over on Streamlabs, Karen Williams, I am remiss in not reading your super chat. Thank you, Karen Williams. Appreciate the support. That African clique will haunt you in purgatory. Whoa. Karen Williams says, answer the question, Hake, and spit on it. LOL, lots of laughs. It's actually spit in it. Grabbing the spittoon. Two. No, I'm not going to answer the question. It's an inappropriate question. Inappropriate. In fact, I've already answered it in the early shows when I was co-hosting with my co-hosts at the time, Joel Friday, no longer here. No, he's still here. He's going to be live in 24 and a half hours plus. Okay? That's the plan. Assuming that he's not going to sleep in for 4th of July. Joel Friday TV. Yeah, I said that I never did that thing. Karen Williams. Yeah, there's a caller who called in with an inappropriate question. Oh, he's on the line. Okay, but thank you, Karen Williams. I appreciate it. I was remiss in not reading your super chat. Coldberger says, hey, happy 4th and 17th. Winky face emoji or thing. Looking forward to July's men's. Thank you. Cool. Right on, man. Riley JM says, Morningstar is a nice song. They do a lot with 3 chords. Indeed, there's a lot you can do with 3 chords, believe it or not. You know, when you restrict yourself or when you have a restriction put on you, it can enhance what you put out. When you have a rule, a constraint, or much constraints, it can sharpen you. It can focus you, and you come out with better stuff. I bet it helps people sometimes with songs that they may write or whatever. It helps people with YouTube channels where you're not allowed to say this or that about this or that thing, which I would have to disavow. And you can get creative. So that's cool. DJ Onpaw with the diamond. Thank you for ending AAPI. It stunk like cat turds. Don't say that, kids. Well, thank you, DJ Onpaw with the diamond over there on D-Live. A couple from Rumble Rants. Yeah, AAPI, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month was May, and I powered through with June. Maybe I'll play more Jackie and Andy and other stuff on Fridays. Fob Fridays. It's not offensive. It's fun. It's funny. It's fun. It's nice. So yeah. Based Nation says riddle. A fisherman watched a 2-hour show and was very disappointed at first and then returned to the father. What show did he watch? Hake? Was it Hake? Could it have been Hake? Thank you, Based Nation. That's my only guess. I like the riddle. Thank you for the riddle. Gilco on Rumble says, Hake, do you guys do business entrepreneur support? Help with my business, keeping me on track, help guidance? You know, you can call the bond office if you want to see about if there's anything that can be done. You could call into the Jesse Lee Peterson show if you have a question or a comment or want a little feedback. If it's not too private, or if it's something that you want to discuss, you could, I suppose, even book a counseling appointment, maybe? Not sure. But I do believe that there is some thing that you can do. So call the bond office. Even right now, the lines are open. The operator's waiting. 1-800-411-BOND, or actually, which is 1-800-411-2663. But there's also the local number, 323-782-1980. 1-323-782-1980. So call and ask your question there. See about it. See about it. So thank you, guys. Let me get to James in Maryland's been on hold forever. James, thanks for calling and holding. What is up, man?
Nothing. I just want to check in with you and give you a story about what happened to me at Harbor Freight today.
Okay, Harbor Freight Tools, the cheap Chinese, it's Chinese, right?
Yep.
Tools store.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right.
Hey, I used to go to Sears, but, then,
They closed down. There's no more
too,
Sears.
Man. Anyways, I'm at Harbor Freight, and I have a picture of this particular tool that's going to help me get out strip bolt. And somebody bought it there, and they showed me a picture. I have it in my hand on my phone, I showed it to the guy. He's acting like he stocks his shelf. He knows where everything is. And he comes in, he says, look, if it's not on that shelf, we don't have it. And I'm like, yeah, but my friend says he bought it here. Is it missing? Do I need to order it? What do I need to do here? Look, man, if it ain't on that shelf, we ain't got it. And I told him, this is the problem with black people.
Oh, you said that?
I just want to know if you guys even sell it anymore. And he told me, oh, you said something about blacks. You can leave the store. So I left. But I whatever. Was that racist?
No, it wasn't racist.
Even though I don't believe in racism.
No, it wasn't. I mean, the guy would have taken it as racist, but it wasn't racist. It was an observation. But it may have been ill-advised. Because I think you knew that the guy was going to take it wrong.
Yeah. I did.
You were frustrated and gave up on the conversation. So you might have been wrong.
Well, yeah, I asked him like a Karen, can I speak to the manager or something? He said, look, man, if we ain't got it, we ain't got it. And I'm like, this
sometimes
is the
they have some
problem with black
inventory.
people.
Don't they sometimes have inventory in the back? You could...
you know what? This is our future, Hake.
It is. That's
okay, I'm out.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Short and sweet. Ain't gots is crazy, says Surik. I guess you... well, I could understand going to Harbor Freight because Home Depot supports the gays. Lowe's supports the gays. None of these commie cap... But probably Harbor Freight, who knows what they do. You're supporting China, I guess. None of these commie capitalist corporations support anything good. Let me get to Jeff in Louisiana, who has a comment on something that I covered earlier, first hour. Jeff in Louisiana, thanks for calling, man. What's up?
Hey, James. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for taking my call, man.
Yeah.
After the last conversation. Now, I wanted to, I woke up yesterday morning, I turned on YouTube, and I saw the shooting in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And, okay, here's my thing is it was 30 people injured and 2 dead.
Yep.
So my challenge to white America is go back to roll quarters, go to the hood, and throw to somebody and tell them, go to arcade or have a target practice.
Wait, what?
I said, tell white America to go to the bank, get roll quarters, and drop to the hood. Give to some gangster, some thug, some whatever, and tell them, go to the mall and play an arcade game, learn how to shoot.
That's you're joking, right? It's jokes.
No, man, I know it sounds like a joke, but I'm serious.
But you don't want them to be shooting more accurately. Maybe they didn't want to kill anybody. Maybe they want it.
Well,
you don't know.
I'm not talking about Boston show. I'm going to say it this way.
And how do you know that the suspects were black?
Man, I admit it right now. I don't know because
Right.
they're still searching for evidence.
Yeah.
But come on.
Yeah.
You've seen this story enough times. You know what the
Right.
result's going to be.
But you don't want to give them a roll of quarters for free. I mean, go get some target practice at the mall with like a what is that
Like a hunter game or something like
like Duck
anything.
Hunt, like the Nintendo game Duck Hunt.
Yeah, man.
That's funny.
You know. Okay, not to get off topic, but you know, Duck Hunt doesn't work on a flat screen TV
I did not know that, but it makes sense actually.
because I bought a Nintendo. I bought a Nintendo and Duck Hunt and all that stuff a year ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't work on flat screen TV.
What a
But no,
disappointment.
what I'm saying is I don't wish death upon nobody.
Right.
Okay, let me get that right. I don't wish death upon nobody. But if he were at 15 out of 30, that's 15 people less on welfare, food stamps, Section 8 housing, all this crap that you will not have to pay.
Right, but I know, but
And
death
that will improve the country.
that will not it will not improve it. Like murders.
I'm not saying murder. I'm not saying murder. I'm
But
taking
that
count
was
the
murder.
numbers.
But
Yeah, it is murder. But I'm taking count the numbers.
no,
You
but the
think
numbers
about
numbers are not everything because a murder is an added evil. You're adding to the evil of the world, not taking away from it. Even if you murder a bad person. I
Okay,
think.
I'm not saying that on murder. But
Yeah.
think about it.
Same
If
thing with
you're paying your
abortions.
if you're paying your tax dollars every week, and you have half people pay for what you had to pay for last week, that through your pocketbook. Is that not through the country?
I don't know because think about you're only taking one factor because think about what a murder does. Like it's expensive. Like they have to clean up, they have to do paperwork, which has some costs to it. And then also the people in the area are a little bit less safe because they remember there was a murder here. Therefore, I'm not going to do business.
But
so you're not.
Okay, let me ask you a question on that point.
Yeah.
When a shooting in Baltimore, like Baltimore, happens,
Yeah.
and there's 30 people hit and 20 people died, do not start to clean up? Do not start to paperwork? It makes it more paperwork because they got us injuries. He was shot in the head. He's dead.
Right.
Well, she was shot in the head. She was shot in the shoulder. She was shot in the leg. She was shot in this. And we had to do this and this and this. No, it's more paperwork.
Okay. I'll give you the paperwork thing if you'll give me. Now businesses don't want to do business in that area, so businesses and economy suffers. Then there's less money to go around. They could be paying for their own murders rather than. And
I
paperwork.
agree on that point, but when you come back to it, are the business here anyway? Because none of them want to come there because of those statistics of what happens there.
That's what I mean.
They don't want to come there in the first place.
Yeah, that's the only reason they don't want to come in is because of all the crime, though.
Man, let me ask you this question though.
All right.
If somebody tells you, "I'll give you $50,000 and you can go to start a business in Tulsa, Alabama," and you get $50,000 free to start your business with, I'll give you $100,000 and get Baltimore tax no repayment, no nothing. I'll give you $100,000 and get Baltimore start business. Which one would you take?
The safer one.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that doesn't affect murders. Doesn't affect the number of people dead doesn't affect nothing because guess what? The same number of people got shot at. The number of dead don't affect it. The same number of people got shot at.
Oh.
It's the fact is they were driving a neighborhood and saw, well, hell, there's 30 people falling, let's shoot them. It doesn't matter if there's 30 people, 2 people, because guess what? In the end, all 2 people died.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I appreciate your concern for the blacks. I share your concern. Happy White History Month, by the way, Jeff, in Louisiana.
You too, man. When your shirt's going to be out?
You know, you can order them today by going to whitehistorymonth.store right now.
Okay, man. I may buy one this year, man. 'Cause I think it's hilarious. A black man's got that.
Cool. Well, be careful out there, Jeff. I wish you well. Take care.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, he did it. He got me again. I'll get you next time, Jeff in Louisiana. He clicked on me. Ugh. I don't like that. I like him. I just don't like when I blame myself. I'm not going to say the S word. Stupid. Crazy. I got to talk about the truckers, guys. Did you know that truckers flooded the market during the China virus scare? And now they're struggling to pay their bills, according to NBC News. Their morning update from this morning, July 3rd, Monday. Elizabeth Both, B-O-T-H, writes, when COVID snarled supply chains. Fake news, Elizabeth. Both? It's the scared, female-minded communist shutdowns in the name of the China virus that snarled the supply chains. It's overreaction to the virus. Just as people were online shopping for their lockdown lifestyle, tens of thousands of so-called workers bet big on the trucking boom. Number of trucking companies increased by 50% between the start of the scamdemic, they call it pandemic, and the end of last year, which was 2022. But with consumer spending easing, the volume of goods needing to be shipped is returning to pre-scamdemic levels. Many drivers haven't been able to keep operating with so little work. And by the way, California's been cracking down on the truckers with their laws against contractors or something, independent contractors. Has to do with Uber, too. And experts estimate that another 2,000 carriers may have to leave the market before the supply of drivers lowers back down to meet the demand rather than exceed it. Those who bought equipment in the past 2 years now need to sell it. Could be out of tens of thousands of dollars. Now that trucking's good times have come and gone, drivers are left in the lurch, struggling to make a living. Well, shout out to the truckers who are in the chat sometimes or listening to Hake and JLP and American Anchor Baby and Joel Friday TV and Church with JLP in the Fallen State. Shout out to the truckers. I just thought I would mention that. See how you guys are doing. Let me know how you guys are doing. We get some of the best truckers. And then we also have Tony from California. Originally from Virginia, I think. He pronounces William's name William. Crazy. Whew. It is 4th of July. Happy 4th of July is what my Mexican friend told me once. 4th of July. That's Independence Day. Can you name, this is from Morning Brew, can you name the 2 U.S. states with a coastline on the Atlantic Ocean? Not just the Gulf of Mexico that weren't among the original 13 American colonies? Can you? And I have the answer for you. Do you know, Bill? He doesn't know. I think he might know if he were to pause. Do you know, Hassan?
Rephrase the question.
I won't rephrase it, but I'll repeat it.
Okay.
Can you name the 2 U.S. states with a coastline on the Atlantic Ocean, not just the Gulf of Mexico, but the Atlantic Ocean, that weren't among the original 13 American colonies?
I think Bill's got it.
I knew one of them. I thought of one of them pretty much right away. Florida was not the original 13 colonies.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I really was going to say that. I'm not just saying that right now.
Nice.
I was going to say that.
Right on, man. Anybody in the chat know? Anybody in the chat know? Tony always starts out so sweet. Says Gigi. Yeah, indeed. New York, Virginia, says Kevin Howe. No, man. I don't think. Alaska? Alaska doesn't touch the Atlantic Ocean, does it? I don't know. Rhode Island, says Ned Post. You know what? Ding, 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 Mike Gibson and Dead Turtle. Mike Gibson on YouTube and Dead Turtle on D Live. They got it. Oh, and Come On Man knew both, Maine and Florida. It's Maine and Florida. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain, which has nothing to do with Maine, but it makes me think of it. Puerto Rico, says Mike Gibson. Maine and Massachusetts for a while. Maine was Massachusetts for a while. Indeed, Adam, our last name, I won't dox you, and plus I can't pronounce your last name, or I could. Maine was Massachusetts until 1820. Dang. So that's the Hake news for you guys. Maine is part of Massachusetts became Maine. Did you know? That's history. It's not news. Anyway, I thought that I would share that with you. Right on, guys. I got to get to Nathan in Illinois, who's on the line. He's been on hold forever. Man, we're cutting down to the wire. Nathan in Illinois, what is up, man?
Good morning, Mr. James.
Morning.
So that guy talking about dating. That was like, ironically enough, I just broke things off with this prospective lady.
Oh, okay.
And I have a new system. It's probably not going to be very popular amongst a lot of people, but it's an important question. And it's have you had sex with a black guy?
Oh, you ask the gals that you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like, if that's the case, it's a no-go from me.
And explain why, in the cleanest terms possible.
I'm just not for it. It just seems that in this day and age, black men have been fetishized in every which way by the media.
Oh, true, yeah.
Pornography, music, and it's just kind of like, you're kind of like, yeah, it's just not for me.
Yeah, what if they repented? What if their answer is, because there's a lot of, I don't know if I want to say a lot, but there may be some repentant sluts. Don't say that, kids, too much. What if they're a repentant? I don't know if you know what I mean?
I would accept, but like, I don't think she hadn't repented.
Yeah. So you asked a young lady that, you knew, and you broke things off over that.
Yeah, it had been like a couple of weeks. I was like, no.
Oh, does she know that's why? Does she know that's why you discriminated against her?
Yeah, she did. And she was like kind of taken back. It was interesting to see.
Yeah, I bet it would be interesting to, on both sides of that little situation.
Yeah. Anyways, besides that,
okay.
I wanted you to guess what my appearance is.
Guess what your appearance is. I pictured you as a white young man, fit, tall, not too bulky, and brown hair, lightish brown hair, almost like a surfer dude. And am I guessing right?
No hair.
And with a decent tan.
No hair, pale as an Irishman. I shaved my head.
Okay.
I have a beard. But yeah, close enough.
I did not picture a beard. I pictured clean shaven.
No, yeah, I can't grow hair on my head, so I grow it out of my face.
Oh, you went, did you go bald at a young age like Vincent James? Real Vincent James?
Yeah.
What a Chad.
Very early.
He's a Chad regardless of not having hair.
I was cursed with a bad hairline, blessed with a smooth head. So
nice.
Yeah.
How old are you if you don't?
Yeah.
What's that?
23.
Guess? 23, okay.
23.
Yeah, pretty young.
Yeah.
Are you fit or fat? Or scrawny?
I'm not fat. I'm pretty fit.
Okay. I guess that part, right? Are you tall or short? I pictured somewhat tall.
Tall.
Okay. Dang, when you said tall, that sounds real tall.
All right,
buddy, are you in the Chicago area?
Unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How come you have like a sort of a surfer drawl, if you know what I mean?
I don't know, man.
Is it a pot drawl?
It was the pot.
Okay.
The pot, I like to say that I got possessed by Seth Rogen. 'Cause I used to smoke pot all the time, so every
Ouch.
once in a while that Seth Rogen laugh comes out. It's pretty
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah, he does have a sort of an mildly amusing laugh that could potentially turn annoying.
Certainly.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for your input on the dating scene, and that's an
It's just
interesting thought.
it's important to understand your own values and enforce them when you're looking for a partner. Not a partner, a woman.
Right. And
What am I saying?
I like JLP's thing about don't try to find a
Right.
woman. I mean, if one catches your eye, certainly see about it, I guess, or whatever.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this it's turned into being more than what it really is.
I could see that, yeah.
Like somebody mentioned Disney movies. Where did I hear somebody talk about Disney movies? Was it on Nick? Was it on
I
JLP?
heard that today, too.
I think it
Yeah.
was on JLP. Somebody talked about how Disney movies have brainwashed people to I don't know if he said it this way, but I took it as overvaluing this notion of romantic love as like a
Yeah.
meaning in life. Very unchristian.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like JLP is totally right about the S word. Like it's really not that fulfilling or gratifying.
Yeah.
If anything, it's the opposite. It's like a method of control.
Yep.
But yeah,
Cool, man. A great call, Nathan in Illinois. Appreciate you, man. Call me again.
thank you, sir. Of course.
And happy
Bye.
White History Month.
Same to you, sir. I won't say it. I'm in the office.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Bye.
Smart man. But unlike that guy at Harbor Freight, a man with some temperance, some self-control. Oh, man. I would be remiss were I not to mention this. The Supreme Court, the so-called Supreme Court, talked about a colorblind constitution. Was that the word of some liberals or Clarence Thomas? Supreme Court wrangles over the future of race in the law. NBC News said when the so-called Supreme Court struck down a college affirmative action, and I said earlier today, what a euphemism for mama spirit favorable discrimination on behalf of the blacks and Hispanics and females, including white females, right, supposedly, and so-called handicapped. Well, I call them handicapped, so-called disabled programs. Justice Clarence Thomas laid out his vision for a colorblind constitution in which the law must apply equally to everyone, even when it is aimed at redressing supposed historical racial discrimination. Yeah, you're not supposed to redress. You don't supposed to. You're not supposed to redress past wrongs. There's no redressing it. That's why that's another reason why reparations is a dumb idea. You should be thankful. Justice, so-called justice, affirmative action justice, Ketanji Onyeka Brown Jackson. Apologies, headphones listeners, if that pierced your ears a little. Who, along with Justice Thomas, is one of the only 3 black justices who have ever served on the court, and they capitalized the B in the word black because they're kiss-ups, ever since George Floyd, responded bitterly to her colleague in her own dissenting opinion on the affirmative action case. You guys know that. I'm shaking my head. The ruling in favor of that Christian web designer who doesn't want to make wedding websites for so-called same-sex couples who think that they're getting married raised a list of legal questions. Well, good. I'm happy about that. There is a little, briefly tell you this news item. Trump got attacked by Ron DeSantis. I cracked because I'm growing. Ron DeSantis, election 2024 Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg took aim at Florida Governor Ron DeSanctimonious. No, I like Ron DeSantis. For attacking our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, over so-called LGBTIQ rights. Pete Buttigieg mocked Ron DeSantis for trying to prove his manhood. Lord. The transportation secretary, who is openly criticized a video reposted by DeSantis' team that goes after Trump on LGBTQ issues because Trump is too nice to the so-called gays. Too nice to them, maybe. And features images of... I don't want to talk about that. I don't even want to talk about it. But it's just kind of funny that indirectly, DeSantis trolled Pete Buttigieg into defending Trump. Based. I guess. I didn't get to this Moms for Liberty thing. I'll have to do that tomorrow. And I'll have to get to the rest of the calls tomorrow. Kevin over in... I'm blanking on where you were calling from. You hung up. William in California. I wanted to get to you too, man. We'll have to do it tomorrow. I'll get right to you guys. I shall prioritize that. This has been the Hake Report. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy White History Month. I am not a grandpa, as fake news is stolen valor. Or is it valorous nowadays to be a grandpa? Pfft. But now is time for some white history music. This is Hake's White History. We're back with Mary Rice Hopkins. I enjoy it, and you should too. Little is much when he lives in your heart, when you know who you are. Adios, America. I'll sit with you guys through this. So good. I mean, I'm not a fan of the instrumentation. I grew up singing this song.
Little is much when he lives in your heart. Little is much when you know who you are. Little is much when he lives in your heart. Little is much. David was a shepherd who came to pray. Oh Lord, there's a giant in my way. And with this slingshot, Goliath was slain. And down he came like a giant earthquake.
So good.
Little is much when he lives in your heart. Little is much when you know who you are. Little is much when he lives in your heart. Little is much. Zacchaeus was small.
Zacchaeus.
Could not see. And so he climbed up high in a tree. Jesus said, come down and follow
We'll see you tomorrow, guys.
Hear these words that I speak.
So nice.
I have come for the children, I have come for you. And through my name, greater things you will do. Whether you are a baby brand new, or if you are 102.
102.
Little is much when he lives in your heart. Little is much when you know who you are.
American Anchor, baby.
Little is much when he lives in your heart.
In about an hour.
Little is much. Little is much when he lives in your heart.
Hake, I asked for white music.
Little is much when you know who you are.
I'm listening for the blasphemy.
Little is much when he lives in your heart. Little is much.
Oh, Aki.
Moses never liked to speak, and when he tried, his knees got weak. He felt such pressure, he was under the heat.
Face it.
With the words God gave him, he parted the sea.
Hey.
It's
a nice kindergarten song.
Little is much when you know who you are. Little is much when he lives in your heart. Little is much. Little
Hey.
is much when he
Key
lives
change.
in your heart. Little is much when you know who you
Harmonies.
are. Little is
This is
much
white.
when he lives in your heart. Little is much.
White-hearted.
Oh yeah. Little is much. Oh yeah.
Hake not only thinks we're Philistines, but kids also. Well, guys, adios, America. See you tomorrow. Yes, we are live for July 4th. Bye.